Hey, would you look at that? I got a redesign on the video about redesigns. Who would've thunk it? Okay, to the actual video. One of the things I think is least discussed about Super Smash Bros. Is its art style. Each game has sort of had like a different approach to it. In Smash 64, they tried their best to keep like everything cartoony, paring everyone who appeared in that game down to mostly match Mario's art style. If they had an existing N64 model, they tended to stray a little closer to that, but otherwise, you know. Even in the official artwork, they're all completely redesigned to look like little guys. Link is horrifying. My god, what did they do to you? Melee is where we started to skew into more realistic territory, with Mario's denim overalls, the more detailed clothing folds on Link, etc. Fox actually looks like a fox, and it's disgusting. And Brawl is gross. The colors are muted to shit, the textures look so gross, metal is just too goddamn shiny. I don't know why it bugs me so much. It looks bad. It's just entirely too realistic. This is the farthest thing from what Smash's art style should be, in my opinion. It strikes no balance, it gets no bitches, and it made Toon Link look like this. But hey, they actually started to make way during the era of Smash 4. To the point of this exact thing actually being discussed in the first few pages of Smash 4's project pitch document, and push it to what I believe is utter perfection. It's an in-between of cartoony and realistic, not quite being either and playing to both sets of strengths. Almost every character is slightly redesigned, but there's definitely variations in it. Today, I'm looking into the ways certain characters are redesigned and separating into these tier thingies and talking a bit more specifically about a character that I think epitomizes the tier. Starting at the bottom with basically unchanged. These are characters that look the exact goddamn same, for better or worse. I feel like if you put any of these characters next to other renders from their original games, they'd probably blend in, with some exceptions with like color or whatever. Like Yoshi wouldn't exactly match, but that's just because he's a mildly darker shade of green. Sometimes this just looks really out of place though, like with Bowser Jr. here. Spoilers for later, but his dad actually gets a bit of a redesign with scales covering his body and armor and his shell. But then you get to Bowser Jr. and he just looks so much less detailed. No scales, no texturing, no nothing. He just looks disgustingly smooth. Like putting them side by side, it just looks gross. But I think the character that epitomizes this look is Mr. Best-Selling Game of the World, Steve Minecraft. I do a whole diatribe here, but instead I'll just put Steve's Minecraft textures here, and Steve's Smash textures here. Honestly, I really like this for Steve in particular, because, I mean, how the fuck else would you do it? Whoa, 3D! These are characters that have been translated basically exactly from one of their games, but in the third dimension. Not too many examples of this, but I feel like the character that shows it off the most is Mega Man here. I may not like it, but Mega Man is basically just a 3D version of his NES sprites. Same design, new art style. These are characters who should technically not... They don't really have changes. But since the art style of Smash differs so drastically from their original game, they naturally look different. Most of the anime men, women, calling them people feels like a stretch. The freaks fall into this category, along with a lot of the Mario crew. Personally though, I feel like Link is the most notable of these. Putting them side by side, you can clearly tell that these are, the same design. But without Breath of the Wild's cell shading and with Smash's more detailed texturing, you can clearly tell which game they're from. Minor redesigns. This is where it gets cool. These characters have slight adjustments to better pull them closer into what works for Smash. Not just with shading, not just some texture bullshit. No, there's actually new stuff added to them. Or in Snake's special case, removed. He's slightly less detailed, slightly more stylized, slightly less gritty, in order to fit in with Smash's cartoonier characters. It's really cool, and an actually rare example of Smash pulling someone back just a tiny bit. Can you imagine if Snake was in Smash 64, though? Oh god, I take it back, But from DDD's robe, to K. Rool's golden belly and scales, to Rob, actually being and looking like a robot. But of these, I think the most notable ones are the Mario princesses, specifically Peach. Daisy kind of just has the same thing, and Rosalina has some like star detailing on her dress, which I think is really cute, honestly. But Peach here, her dress is broken up into multiple layers with frills and patterns, and it's really cool. If you put it side by side with her Mario design, she looks so basic and clear. Don't get me wrong, if I'm going to be drawing Peach, I'm going to be drawing this Peach, but I do adore what they did here. Full redesign. It doesn't happen often, but Smash does sometimes fully redesign their characters. The Miis have had their proportions reworked. They also got like a full redesign from Smash 4. I forgot about it. Sheik has been adjusted proportion-wise to make it more obvious she's a girl, and, you know, the Sheik outfit, whatever. Roy has been mashed together between his OG and Awakening designs. Ridley has been made into a fucking creature. Both Simon and Richter have iterated designs based on their most famous looks, which is a really unique approach. But my favorite of these, my favorite is Dark Samus. She's been mashed together with her Prime 2 and Prime 3 designs. In Prime 2, she has a much more organic, almost like monstery look, with sinew and growth stretching and growing out of her. And Prime 3's has a much more suit-like appearance with a cleaner, sleeker look. The only organic material we can see is the veins that crawl up from her hand. Smash strike the perfect balance. She's clearly almost biomechanical, made of some sort of metal or other harder material, but the way it morphs and grows around her form makes it look clearly organic. The veins and growths are just a cherry on top. This is probably my favorite Dark Samus design. She's probably not going to appear in Prime 4, but if she does, this is probably the design I want them to use. It just looks so good. Also,